Miami!
Mission control, we have liftoff.
Phinhub! Phinhub! We talking Dolphin City! Phinhub, Phinhub! Yeah! It's that Dolphin Show! Phinhub!
Welcome to the Phinhub Show, the one NFL podcast you can't leave off your roster. Now here's your hosts, Joe and Kevin DeHale.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Phinhub Show, powered by BetUS. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure to check out BetUS and use code YouTube150 for a 150% deposit bonus on your first deposit for up to $2,000. That's code YouTube150 for a 150% bonus on BetUS. Well, all right, let's get into it. We are doing our stock up and stock down for the Miami Dolphins today. And let's start with Jaylen Wright, who had a hell of a game for the Miami Dolphins, showed what life is like without Tua Tagovailoa and a recipe for the Miami Dolphins going forward. Him and Mostert did a great job running the ball, especially later on in the game. He had 13 carries for 86 yards, and his longest one was actually called back due to a flag. I think it was about 20-something yards. But I really liked what I saw from Jaylen Wright, and I really think he needs to be way more involved in the offense right now. He's a guy that runs with power. He obviously has the speed. He also has patience running behind the line. And I think that's really important with the way that things are right now with the Miami Dolphins. The passing game is going to be feeding off of establishing the run. And this is the guy to do it for the Miami Dolphins going forward. Him and Raheem Mostert really did their thing once Devon went down, and I was really impressed with him.
Yeah, I think this is his third game playing. He looks a lot more comfortable out there. Every time he's out there, it looks like he's ripping off these nice runs over 10 yards. And exactly what you said, there was a nice run that got called back, his longest run of the day. I think it was another Julian Hill hold, which, that's another guy we'll be talking about soon. But, yeah, man, comfortable out there. He looks great, 6.6 yards per carry. He's looking like a real NFL back.
I really think he's our most true running back on the team right now. I really love the way that he runs the ball, and hopefully they stick to it. And Mike McDaniel, for once, he actually stuck to the game plan and just said, we're going to run it down their throats. Like, just keep going, keep going.
He looked a bit like Jay Ajayi out there, man.
Yeah, I saw a few comparisons to that.
Yeah,
so.
He's big. He runs with power, too, and fast and shifty. So, like, I'm happy to have him on our side, for sure.
Yeah. All right, so let's go into a stock down. Julian Hill. His last 3 games have been very unproductive, with his season high, believe it or not, coming off of 2 receptions, 24 yards.
You know what? Let's keep it at that. No more targets for him. Actually, the less that he's on the field, the better for me. I know he does block with some power. I think he's pretty good at blocking, but then again, he gets called for a lot of penalties throughout the game, illegal motions, especially holding. I don't know exactly what the Dolphins see in this guy, another developmental guy that they just love and they have to put him on the field. But I just hate, like, somewhat the stubbornness. You see something in practice, you're like, oh, we're going to stick it out with this guy. I just don't think he has it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the coaching staff really saw something in him this offseason, and I bought into it heavily. Mm-hmm. They were talking about him being compared to George Kittle, or maybe not the comparison of George Kittle, but telling him to watch some of that George Kittle tape. And honestly, it's just not there. I think once he gets his hands on somebody, he can be productive in blocking. But we've also seen him miss on a few blocks just because he doesn't get there on time.
Yeah.
So that's a huge issue with him. And then the penalties have just been killing the Miami Dolphins. Anytime we get a bit of momentum and things seem to be going maybe a little bit more our way, it gets called back because of 89 or holding or whatever the situation is. So,
well, what I see is they want him to play like George Kittle, but he's playing more like a bag of Skittles out there.
Okay,
in my
nice.
opinion.
All right.
Like a rainbow.
Yeah. Another tight end, but this time let's go stock up. Jonnu Smith, who had his season high 62 yards off of 5 receptions, didn't get into the end zone, but Jonnu Smith was out there productive, and they even let him run the ball a couple times. It didn't really work out for us, but you could see the versatility that he brings to the Miami Dolphins, and he could do a little bit of this and that. I really liked having Jonnu Smith out there, and it was nice to see him get involved in the offense. We haven't really seen much of him this season, and there was a lot of hype behind him coming into the team this season. So finally, we're able to see what he could do. I think more so when Tua gets back, we're going to see a little bit more from Jonnu Smith, even still moving forward. But maybe Tyler Huntley found something in Jonnu Smith that he can rely on, and we can use that going forward for the remaining of the season.
I just think maybe McDaniel just had him as a part of the game plan. You see him trying to hand the ball off to him too. He's heavily involved in the passing game. I think that is right now, especially without your starting quarterback in Tua. This is the type of player you need out there. This is that little safety net. Those a nice tight end that can catch the ball, that has some speed. You saw it there. He almost broke away for I believe it was like 3rd and 16, something like that. He almost got the first down. He didn't get it, but those are easy plays. Someone that can run with power, someone that's fast, sure hands. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really happy we're getting him involved. This is actually the pickup in the offseason that we were extremely excited about. And I want to see more of him and less of Smythe and Julian Hill out there, because they've been complete disappointments for me this season.
Yeah, definitely. Jonnu Smith is the best tight end on the field, and we need to have more of him, less of the other guys. I can't see the Dolphins really going the other way.
Exactly what you're saying, though. More of him, less of players that shouldn't be out there. And I think that needs to be like the emphasis. Odell Beckham back involved. Just start rounding out who's going to be out there, those core guys that are going to be there throughout most of the season and for most of these plays. So,
yeah, let's see. And now, actually, let's get back to a stock down. Jordan Poyer, his age is starting to show. He didn't play the last game because he was injured Monday Night Football against the Titans. I believe he got injured and also injured Jaylen Phillips in the process. So 2-for-1 special for the Miami Dolphins there. His biggest performance was against the Seahawks, where he had 9 tackles, but 0 sacks, 0 forced fumbles, 0 interceptions, 0 passes defended, believe it or not, for the season. So he really hasn't done much of anything. And in my opinion, Marcus May, who stepped in for him in the last game, it was more productive. He seemed more comfortable out there with the Miami Dolphins and with the defense. And we're going to need him now more than ever, given that Jordan Poyer is injured. I don't know if he's going to be able to play in the next game, but Javon Holland's going to be out for at least a good while. So Marcus May is going to have to step up in their absence, and he did a good job last week. So I'm excited to see what he can bring for the Miami Dolphins. But that safety room that looks so stacked coming into the season is at this point decimated, and we're going to be relying on Marcus May and Elijah Campbell for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I would imagine that we're going to be looking into picking up someone off of a practice squad or something.
They're going to have to.
Yeah, we need it. But I'm not so down on Jordan Poyer just yet. It's early on in the season. Yeah, he did have that bonehead play that he destroyed Jaylen Phillips' knee. But yeah, man, I think what he provides, that veteran leadership, kind of seeing a lot of stuff throughout the years, I think he can pick it up. I think he can maybe, provide some much needed relief with Javon Holland being out for an extended period of time. But yeah, I'm not too down on him yet. Let's see if he can pick it up. Let's see next game. I did see that Omar Kelly said, I believe it was yesterday, that he noticed that his limp was much, he wasn't walking with as much of a limp as he was like a week before. So I guess that's some encouraging news. Maybe he can get through this bye week and come back for the following game. He's got 2 weeks to get right.
Okay. Well, now let's go back to stock up. Some better news. The Miami Dolphins, Jordyn Brooks has been linebacking and doing it well. With his season high coming against the Tennessee Titans Monday Night Football, he had 13 tackles, 1 sack, and 1 pass defended. He's looking pretty good. To be completely honest, I think it was early on in the year, I didn't notice him at all. He wasn't really popping up. But the last few weeks, I've seen more of him. But yeah, I like what I've been seeing. He's been applying pressure to the quarterback, getting there just before he can get the sack, but applying that pressure nonetheless and making some pretty good hits out there too. So Jordyn Brooks, I've been really surprised with him as of late, because early on in the season, I was like, this guy, I wasn't too sure about him. And he really disappeared in some of those games. But lately, he's been stepping it up.
Yeah, the only bright spot in a very weak linebacker unit that we have right now, Anthony Walker hasn't done much. Yeah, Anthony Walker hasn't really been, much of a bright spot either. David Long continues to get injured constantly. But that leads me into something. I saw that Devin White got released by the Eagles recently. I think that would be a good guy to maybe pick up. That's a solid. We take a nice flyer on him or something like that. What do you think?
Yeah, and you were saying actually before the show that he's still pretty young. What is he?
He's 26 years old. Yeah.
So 26 years old. I think it's a guy to definitely take a look at. Who was productive at an NFL level? Why not take a shot at him and kick the tires on him and see what he could bring for us?
I mean, just with this unit, we already have David Long injury prone, Anthony Walker injury prone. It'd be nice to have him out there. I do not want to see Duke Riley out there because we've all seen, even in his special teams play, he's just not a great football player.
Yeah.
I don't understand why he's been on this team for so long already. I feel like every offseason I'm predicting him to get cut, but he's just sneaking his way off the roster. I guess it's the power of friendship,
Yeah. Well, let's move off stock up and stock down. And some interesting news has come out as of late. The Dolphins, coming into the season, it seemed like the easier part of the schedule was going to be early on. But lately, the way that things have turned out, a lot of those teams that seem to be very strong have actually been very weak this year. So the end of the rest of the remaining schedule for the Miami Dolphins, actually 9 out of the last 12 currently have losing records. So the Dolphins could still take advantage of that and possibly end the season with 8 wins, maybe something up to 10 wins, maybe get a little bit crazy and get up to that 11-win mark, and that's definitely good enough for a playoff spot. So things look super gloomy for the Dolphins once Tua went down, but now not because the Dolphins are looking so amazing or anything, but the rest of the AFC is not looking so great either way. So the AFC, even the AFC East, and not to go on a whole tangent on this with Josh Allen and the concussions, but it looked like he suffered back-to-back concussions consecutive weeks. And the NFL, the Bills, ESPN, nobody's really reporting on it. It's kind of weird, but I'm not hoping on this for Josh Allen, but we know what happens when you get hit hard consecutive weeks. If he gets hit hard again, it's not going to be good for them. They're going to be looking at an injured reserve kind of deal for Josh Allen because he's going to start the posturing, the whole Tua deal, and I hope that doesn't happen to him. But the Bills are really the kings of the AFC East right now, and even then they've lost some games. So
you'd hate to see any player go down, even a rival as Josh Allen. I don't like him on the field, but he does seem like a nice guy. You'd hate to see that. So I really hope the NFL maybe steps in, reviews that, finds them like they would do to us, and maybe even takes away a pick because, if it's the Dolphins, we're under a microscope no matter what. I'm not here to whine about it. But, you saw it clearly when Tua had his first concussions that year against the Bengals and the Bills and all that. As soon as we had Teddy Bridgewater out there.
Right.
It was against the Jets. It was literally the first play of the game. He just got pushed in the end zone, whipped his head a little bit, kind of shook his head, got up, wasn't wobbly, nothing, walked away. He was doing thumbs up. A spotter, an NFL spotter, which I don't even know if they have that now anymore, but they're the ones that took him out of the game for concussion protocol, and he wasn't able to come back in. So to see a guy knocked out on the ground pretty much on his belly, they turned him over, he's still like all messed up, and then say it's an ankle injury, I think that's something that's very suspicious, and I think that they should get fined or penalized for that. I don't think it's malpractice.
Yeah, and then the whole deal with the smelling salts and everything, like it's just so shady.
It's too much.
Shady.
I don't know if I'm right, but I thought that you couldn't use smelling salts in the NFL anymore, especially for a concussion
a performance enhancer,
Yeah.
technically. So, people are going to get away with things, and I'm just not sure why the NFL hasn't stepped up themselves, because player protection should be one of the most important things at this point. It seems like to be one of the highlighted things in the NFL right now.
Especially with concussions, I feel like that has been the spotlight on any type of injury. They blow out their ACLs, their Achilles. That's something that you can't really control. And I'm not saying you can control concussions, but you can't control the aftermath. You can take a player out, protect him from himself, protect him from a franchise too, because maybe it's in the coach's best interest to keep their best player in the game, but it's not in the player's best interest, you know?
Yeah, it's a little interesting from the fact that the NFL, Josh Allen is the second best quarterback in the NFL right now behind Patrick Mahomes, and it's going to be really hard to argue against that.
Yeah. Well, I'd argue Lamar Jackson right now. Lamar, he's playing out of his mind.
I'm still going with Josh Allen.
No, I'm with you on that. But Lamar Jackson, how he's, especially last game against the Bengals, which Joe Burrow looked really good too. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. He's got this. He's definitely playing at an MVP level now.
Hey, look, Josh Allen is still that guy.
Yeah.
And either way, what I'm getting to is Josh Allen has been that guy for the NFL. He's made the NFL a lot of money. He is one of those names that you need to protect.
Yeah.
And even if it's from himself or from the Bills, whatever the situation, if Josh Allen goes down now a third consecutive week with a big hit on the head, that's going to be problematic for him going forward, for the Bills going forward. I think they do need to step in and protect him from himself, so that way they can keep playing Josh Allen out there. A game that he sat or 2 games that he sat is not a big deal in comparison to the rest of the season. So hopefully the Bills do figure something out with him. Hopefully the NFL does step in with him. Or hopefully Josh Allen just doesn't get hit the next few games. But the way that Josh Allen plays at times is super reckless.
He's reckless.
Super crazy. I mean, and the thing is, Josh Allen's superpower could be to the detriment of himself. And that's the scary thing about this.
Well, the scary thing is that's what makes Josh Allen. Josh Allen is this guy that can scramble, extend plays. So, I mean, he's always going to be subject to being exposed to these things. So, I mean, he might have to switch up his game, but I don't think he can with the way that roster is built right now. I don't think they have the right receivers. I don't think they're getting enough out of them. So he's going to go Superman mode every game, and it's unfortunate, but, you know, he's got to switch something up there.
Well, if you guys haven't already, make sure to check out BetUS and use code YouTube150 for a 150% bonus on your first deposit for up to $2,000. That's use code YouTube150 for a 150% bonus for up to $2,000. But that's going to do it for today, guys. If you haven't already, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you in the next one. Fins up.